Well, hello, good people. How's it going? I am Darren Eldridge. I am the Dark Geek, and welcome to the Dark Geek Zone on the road. We are at the Cape Cod Summer LOD Series 2024. We are at number 7. We are at the 7th one. This is episode practice number 9 of the Dark Geek Zone on the road, and we are joined today by the one and only Patrick Paquette.
Thank you, Mr. Darren. Thank you. Absolutely.
So for those who don't know Patrick, I know most do. We're going to give you a quick little rundown here. Started way back in 1985, and that's when the Dark Geek was actually graduating high school. So we all know that's a long time ago. And that's when you started playing in Minuteman. Perhaps a wee bit shy of the drinking age, but you know, this is hearsay, so we're just not going to talk about ages and go back. So he plays in the Minuteman Dart League, the Cape Cod Dart League. He is part of the DPNE Tour, finished in the top 16 in 2023, currently playing in the tour that's going on right now. That is our big 5-0 professional tour run by Scott Estel, Jay Watt, and Jen Papalava keeps them all in line, and it's a great opportunity. Look for those tour stops. And he also was nice enough to take over the running of the singles league. We call it the Cape Cod Premier League here, when yours truly had a little brain meltdown and a little too much going on. And Patrick stepped right in and has knocked that one out of the park, even having a summer one, which the players were begging him for, and he did. So that's a little introduction. I know that's a lot to take in, and that is a lot of darts, and he's involved in a lot. So he also has a lot to say. So as I did with Dax, we're just going to kind of sit back and chat. We got a little thing here. You know, we want to hear how singles are going and what he's got planned for the fall. But we're just going to have a little chat here. And I'm going to just go ahead and turn it over to Patrick.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Mr. Darren. Sort of honored to be amongst the list of prestigious people you've had at this table. I was like,
following Dax. Cool. Following Dax is a big deal.
Absolutely.
We were real stoked. So.
And it was, and just a comment on his interview, because I did watch it. Actually, I played that night, but the next night I watched it. And it was refreshing. As you know, I tend to have a different view of the American game. And he said so many things that I say on a regular basis, especially even talking about like 501 players that properly work 501 will be proper cricket players and the whole bit.
Right.
And it was just a lot of the theory he talked about is some of the stuff that I'm not going to say bring to Cape Cod, but set up in the singles league. Right. Stuff I'm trying to, I mean, it's happening all over the country. And I'm copying from some great other organizers. But it was sort of like, it was cool to hear him say that. It made me feel validated. It made me not feel so alone when I'm getting feedback from some players that think that some of these long format and some of these set play and stuff like that is right. It was just cool. It was really nice to hear him speak. I had a blast.
Yeah, no, he was great. It was great to hang out with him and learn that insight and get a little background. Of course, we got to hang out with him all night. It was pretty awesome. But it was great to hear his insight and also just how happy he is. I mean, we had just had the opportunity to meet and in talking with him and understanding everything we got. I think we impressed the big guy. So, no, it was a lot of fun. So. So I guess the first thing is, how is the Summer League singles going? I know you brought in cricket, speaking of it. And
it was, to be honest, so it came very close to happening last year. Except I was still sort of new. You know, it was after really the first season of it being the way that I wanted it.
Right.
And I believe in done right is better than done fast. And there was definitely an appetite. At the same time, I had some stalwart people in Cape Cod darts telling me summer darts won't work. I heard that from quite a few.
Yeah.
And I understand most of us are in the tourist economy. Most of us work twice as hard at this time of the year. People don't understand that. When you live here, it's not vacation time. It's money time.
True.
And it's sort of, so there was enough call and I had planned it out. and I was looking for an opportunity to introduce set play as opposed to just the straight, best of 25 or best of 19 or the way that we have the regular seasons, the spring and fall. And I was like, all right, let's do it.
Right.
And I like to poll players. Sometimes it blows up in my face. I try and my management style for the league is benevolent dictator. I want full disclosure of everything. I want as much player involvement as is reasonable and tolerable at my home. And it's and then there becomes like, we get into some stuff about the shirts and it got ridiculous really quick and I just shut it down. And it was like, all right, guys, like no, we're off track. But with the singles league, there was a lot of feedback. There was a question as to the summer league was hopefully to maintain and be ready going into fall season, right?
Right.
It was just to maintain. A lot of people wanted cricket. We don't do cricket in the summer and fall season, in the spring and fall season.
Right. Straight five.
So we do straight 501, double, single double. And so I was open to that. And okay, that's fine. But there was, questions about what divisions would play 301 double, what divisions would play 501 straight start double out. Because I felt the responsibility that if part of the reason for summer darts is to stay ready, that just saying to say the lower divisions that are going to be playing 301 double all the time, I felt just going, okay, play 501 and get them out of that rhythm is going to make and I was like, no, and then for a moment, there's a lot of players. There's, the whole AAA controversy sometimes,
Right. Yeah.
And there's a lot of A players that go, hey, if I was playing 501 straight start double finish, I'd be having those averages too, but it's because I play double. Personally, I shake my head at that because I just don't see that as reality. But I thought, let's go the opposite. Let's play in the AA division. Let's play a set. I was pretty committed to 201 sets with a cricket set in the middle.
Right.
And I was like, well, maybe we'll make the third set a 301 set. 301 double in, double out set. Okay. The revolt was massive. The players spoke. And I hid back under the table. I had a few dear friends of mine go, I was told there was no appetite for it. So what we ended up, we put the summer league together. To my surprise, we ended up with 4 legit divisions.
Nice.
We have a AA, an A, and a B, and a women's. And again, we have an all women's division. And that is awesome. And that's been a work in process with the ladies, because sometimes we have a few extra ladies, and I have actually played with and made some crazy schedules according to what their wishes were.
Right.
Obviously, women's darts is the competitive darts. The true idea, I believe, I don't know when it was actually when you guys founded it, but my idea is that, you've got the CDC, the American Pro Tour. You've got the DPNE series. Let's call that semi-pro, if you will, because some of those players are sponsored, some aren't.
Right.
Those are the guys like me trying to just be good enough and get the opportunity to get smashed by some of our idols in some ways, and some of our friends. And I view these long format singles leagues as the feeder to that. It's something a little bit different than league play. League play being the more social thing you guys talked about last week.
Right.
And it was, and so getting the women to play with the women and working on the women's standard amongst themselves, I thought was important, but I gave them the option. And each and every season, they've come back and gone, no, we want to play together. And we have like ladies' night. They pick a venue because, for those who don't know, the league is, I set a schedule. There's a start date and an end date in the season. We do have a weekly schedule, and we have a match notification procedure. Thank you to the DPFL, Dart Players Florida Online League. They gave a lot of the ideas I got came from some of their published stuff.
Yeah.
And that was even before I played in their online league.
Oh,
but they had published a lot of stuff and had a lot of podcasts about reasoning before.
Yeah.
And some of it made sense to me, and I definitely stole some. So giving them their acknowledgement. Don't send the lawyer. I don't have one for this particular thing yet. Um, and but it's gone well. And each season I get more players, and each season we've grown a little bit. Each season the averages have stayed the same, or they've crept a little bit. But I've definitely seen some players go CBA, and now we're starting to see it. I'm going to call a player out. Tim Kelly and Paul Lanoux were C players when they started playing,
Right.
and they have gone CBA. They have risen through, and it's translated to where Timmy's looking for an A team right now to play with.
Right.
And I use them as an example because they also were. When I took it over from you, there had been some frustration, on your part as the administrator, and not being a native Cape Codder, not having some of the deep personal relationships, I was in a position that I could be a bit of a hard ass and not put myself in a weird place. And I basically said to everybody when we set the rules, I took a lot of the experience. You shared a bunch with me, some other people did. And we tried to build in procedures. I don't even like to call them rules, procedures that would avoid some of those problems. And they all had to, sign the waiver, but that was about they can't have my house if they leave someplace and something bad happens.
Right.
And I said, guys, someone's going to break a rule first. Someone's going to do one of these things that I consider to compromise competition integrity.
Right.
And I'm going to come down hard. The first two guys who didn't follow the match notification, because when you're playing anytime you want, in any venue you want, in some period of time,
right,
you don't notify your friends. As it gets later in the season, there's always that, hey, those are two buddies, and he gave him some points and all of that.
Yeah.
So we want at least where it's all played on Dark Connect. Thank you, Dark Connect, for the most part. And
big fans. Well done. Congratulations again, guys.
It could be faster with the customer service response. I know the BDC thing got them overwhelmed. We're all happy about it. I'm waiting for an email back. But it was a match between Paul and Tim.
Right.
And when I called them both, it wasn't, hey, it wasn't grief. It wasn't what I anticipated. It was, we screwed up, didn't we? I'm like, so you sort of know. I'm like, you realized, and they went, we got to play it again. And I was like, exactly.
Right.
And they took it like grown-ups. They had understood the messaging that I had put out.
Right.
And I'm happy to say, since that, in the first season, we've gone 3 seasons without somebody violating a rule that would have a match disqualified.
That's awesome.
And knowing some of the problems that you had,
right,
and some of the stuff, I just felt good about that. I felt like, okay, we're in a direction. And the other thing was encouragement. I've served in a lot of different communities, the fishing world and the recovery world. I've served in leadership positions and organizing positions.
Mm-hmm.
And I know patterns and stuff like that. So I'm very familiar. I can legitimately and honestly say I feel more appreciated for the work I do with this league than in most of those places. And not to say that I'm not appreciated in those places or haven't been.
Right.
I can't walk in the Moose without somebody who I don't know real well saying, hey, man, you're doing a great job with the league.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm hearing that makes me feel good because my intention is to be a benevolent dictator, and it's cool to have more benevolent dictators.
No, I mean, it is nice, and it ain't easy.
And well, as you know, I am blessed. I have the perfect assistant at home.
True story.
My wife is a godsend. I say it every year when we do the awards. It's like most guys couldn't take the time and not be, having dinner. I had, tonight I had dinner at the table, but many a night I'm processing league stuff or figuring stuff out at my office table.
Right.
She brings me dinner or says dinner's ready, and I go get it. And she doesn't give me any grief. And that's like a godsend. My wife is awesome. She I can't do this if she doesn't allow me the time. As you know, I'm a pretty busy dude.
No, I mean, and Dax and I hit on that too. I'm truly blessed. I have Jen. Jen's been, just last week, we're celebrating 25 years married, almost 30 years together. And no, you have to have a partner who loves you and will support you and encourage you. And in his case, actually makes amazing chocolate chip cookies that I get to eat.
Does.
That's my big
Does.
part of it. But regardless, but no, I agree 100%. Wendy is amazing, and Dax has the same thing with his wife.
Yep.
I'm blessed with Jen, and a lot of the people are. And you have to have, if you have support, it's great. And that's what's nice about the league.
Absolutely.
Because it did. I kind of blew it up and got a little crazy, and they knew that. And then Patrick had stepped in and did a great job. And it has grown. And I've watched different players. I won't call anybody out because I don't want to leave anybody out, but I do see a lot of these luck of the draws that are going on. And I obviously stay here through the finals and seeing different people get there, knowing how they started and where they started.
Yeah.
And hands down, to a man, they will all tell you, I am much better now because of the singles. Hands down, it's not even a question. So
when you're playing, even the lower divisions, you're playing, first to 7, right? So they're playing best of 15 or something,
right.
And that's at the lower divisions, right? And we push them a little bit, like that pushes them, especially. I mean, they're playing 501 straight start double out, but there's some that they go 5, 6, 7 rounds at double. Some of the lower divisions.
Right.
Frequently, you'll watch games, but then you'll see it, like you said, you'll see players just getting a little bit more. Or I got out in 3 turns, and it's like, there's also players who we all know can play who didn't have much confidence.
Right.
I don't mind because I say it often. I compliment him. Joey Eldridge is awesome.
No.
I love Joey, and he's one of them guys who's very skittish a little bit, and it's, he basically led the whole way in his division last season and went deep, and it was. And I talk to him, and I see him around and whatnot, and actually run into him at the Melody tent a couple of times, and it was to see a guy like that feel good about his darts.
Right.
Like, I know from my life that's the hurdles you have to get over. Yeah. And it's just, the long format thing works. It makes players better. Dax was right. I believe in it.
100%.
It's got its drawbacks when you then have to play in a short format, like, because you're used to working through your demons, and you're used to that there's the ability to slump and come back and whatnot. And it does, there's other effects, but I think, and the other part, another thing about the way we do it is no automatically go up and down divisions. Although we use the letters AA, I have reserved that Masters from that if we ever get to a full division of guys over a 60 average,
right,
we will have a best of 32 Masters division when we get there. I believe we're going to get there because we had, I believe, 4 or 5 players over 60 last time.
Right.
And everybody else was over 56. So we're getting close.
Right. And a lot of those top guys that play in Patrick's top division now also do the DPNE tour as well. Yeah. So they're definitely double dipping. Yeah. And as Patrick had stated about the practice, they're using this league here to go off and compete and take their shot up there, because I think you probably, maybe not the entire division, but pretty bloody.
I believe last year, 2023, I believe we had a total of 11 players go, 2 women and 9 men.
Right.
And that was like, as you know, there were discussions about, let's bring an event to the Cape. Yeah. Them guys are coming. And we're not letting you, we're not letting it go, Scott. We're not letting it go. I want my event here. But we just rank the players. Right. We use we have a protocol that's in the rules, but it makes sense. I'll just say that and we use a Dart Connect 501 live average. And I rank the players from top to the bottom, whatever it is, 50 players, whatever. And then I literally draw down and count down. It's usually 8 because we're playing 15 weeks or whatever.
Right.
And I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, draw a line. Draw a line. I wanted something based on data that wasn't based on my opinion. I didn't want to be the one to say, he's A, he's AA.
Right.
He's A, he's B. Because people's hearts get broken when that happens. And I wanted it to be a hard piece of data. And truth of the matter is, play and seasonal averages have sort of said that what we're doing is right, because you will see that entire division shooting a little bit better than that entire division, and averages track, and the data
Right.
tracks over time. And then you can see a guy we all know, the closer, Calvin. Calvin has been raising his average over the last 6 months or something.
Right.
And we're seeing it everywhere.
Right.
And we're seeing it in the singles league.
Yeah.
And, and he's played himself that he's playing in the double A division. And it'll be, obviously we have a wider field when we get to the fall. Spring is the biggest one because we do have some players who can't play fall,
Right.
at holidays and whatnot. But it's, I'm looking forward to growth. I will say this now, I haven't said it out loud. There will be a fall season. I'm committing to that this moment. I hadn't said it. There was no real thought of not doing it, but I hadn't committed to it yet.
Yeah.
I can say this. I've already begun working on the stuff in the background, looking at what the season looks like. There will be a fall season.
We got it. Fall, you heard it. Fall 2024.
That's true.
So, so that is amazing. So, so in addition to the fall, you, I'd like to get just a, it's only 7 past 10. You got a little time to sign up. We'll make sure you get signed up.
Oh, yeah.
Don't like anybody not to get signed up here.
They know I'm playing. Especially if the pattern is true.
This is, yes, I didn't even know. So
Cotto, and then I'm going to forget his name.
Calvin. Well, Calvin was the next one.
Okay, Calvin.
Yeah.
And then your other friend.
Oh, Adam.
Adam Sherlock.
We have Melissa in there. Melissa was actually 3. Melissa
Oh, okay.
was number 3.
So I think we're 2 in a row now.
We're still in a good pattern.
Yeah, it's a lot of people who've had the honor of sitting in this chair have ended up in the final or won.
There was kind of no doubt last week. And one of Dax's buddies had said something about, hey, did he shoot well? And I said my answer was, hells yeah. And so
I scored one of the matches. For a moment, I thought I was in a DPNE match.
It was I had no idea how good he was, but it was a pleasure to watch. And his follow through, I told him I took some pictures of him and just sent it to him because I was amazed. But regardless, so you're still in the DPNE, and I know we got a few guys in there.
I'm not playing the full tour.
Okay.
And that's because I think you know this. I'm not sure. I had some weird stuff going on with my darts recently. And I noticed my numbers tailing.
Mm-hmm.
I drive a lot.
Right.
And I noticed I wasn't seeing well.
Oh.
And as you know, this week especially, there are medical challenges because of the overwhelming population of people versus medical professionals on the Cape. That's as nice as I can be right now. That being said, I had waited 18 months for an eye exam. And we found out that I have cataracts in both eyes, which had begun. My left eye is 4 times worse than my right. And my eye doctor then gave me depth perception tests.
Yeah.
And I was miserable. Like I was way at the bottom.
Wow.
And he said, basically he said that my left eye and my right eye are so far off that there's no way your brain can bring the 2 signals together. He's like, you're not wrong. He's like, he almost didn't want to give me the new glasses. And I'm like, I play darts. And I'm like, I play darts and I drive.
Well, yeah, the drive. Yeah,
and I drive for like a living, for one of my jobs. And I was like, I need whatever I can get. And on August 16th, I have the consultation. I expect they're trying to get me in for the surgery before I go. I spend 5 weeks down in Martha's Vineyard. Although I do come off for darts.
Right. Yeah.
I come off for darts to see my wife and take care of business, but I come off for darts. And hoping to have it done before I leave.
Yeah.
It's also possible I come back.
And then
but I'm gonna lose like 3 days in 3 days. They're gonna do both eyes. I won't need glasses when I'm done, which will be weird.
Wow.
Be the first time I don't need.
Good for you then.
And I have an expectation that some of the inconsistencies that I can't explain yet that have picked up in the last, say, 6 months, 8 months.
Yeah.
I'm hoping I found out why.
Yeah. Exactly.
If not, Dax or Alex Spellman will be getting a check.
Well, it's got to be part of it. Let's face it.
I had,
it's part of it,
I had
so.
worked up to be a pretty solid 59 average, and I still throw the average really good game. I still throw every once in a blue moon, the 100, the 190, the 95, whatever it is, the 17 dart. But I still, every once in a blue moon, there's a 13 darter there. But the consistency is horrible because there's also, for as many of them, there's a 44. But I had been in a pretty consistent 58, 59. It was when I was playing the best at DPNE.
Right.
And my practice hasn't tailed off much until I started to know this was wrong.
Yeah.
And then I've sort of adjusted what I'm doing. I'm still playing. I'm still getting enjoyment.
Right.
But I know I'm not seeing well.
Right.
And so that's always in my head now. And so I'm hoping that when this is done, I can sort of bear down and find those 4 or 5 points of average that seem to have gone.
Gotcha.
Because I practice a lot, as you know. I'm very blessed. I live a mile from the legend. I live a mile from Mr. Cotto.
Yes.
We get along well.
Yeah.
And he loves playing, and I have a weird schedule, and he likes to play all the time.
He does.
So it's nothing for Dennis to come over at 3:30 and for us to bang on a best of 25. And it does me. I know that he likes to play players that push him some, and I do that. And I know it does me a world of good.
Right.
And he's one of the guys. He's one of the guys who, when you're in this atmosphere, it's not as easy to talk about technique and about things like that, things that dart geeks think about, right? And when you're in that, and that's another thing about the long format singles league. There's a different kind of social thing that gives you. Because when you're at league night, you don't get an hour and a half or 2 hours with one person.
Right.
And the guys in the AA division, and actually even before that, in the A division, the season you were, that I was in A, the season that me and Eric Eldridge never finished, I owe you one, Eric. He's on the list. I've gotten to know them guys at a way different level.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because you're not in the party atmosphere of league night. You're not in the really serious nature of DPNE. Although we have fun at DPNE, make no mistake about it. If you've ever thought about trying, it's fun. But there's a serious side.
Right.
And they're all dark geeks that are all more geeky than me. I'm at the low end of that level. That's one of the things I think is cool as shit. Is I like striving for something. I get off on the chase. I get off on the figuring it out and trying to be better. Well, I don't want to achieve something. I want to be reaching and getting there. Like the challenge is what gets
listen to Dax. He talked about getting beat up. I was very fortunate to spend a lot of time with Tom Curtin. And Tom Curtin told me when he was starting how that's what he would do. And he would, he would seek out the people that were going to destroy him. And that's the only people he wanted to play. And we've seen Tommy Curtin on the stage, big stages on the PDC and the other things. So you have to play those people.
The biggest compliment I've had in darts since I started playing again, and maybe the biggest one I've ever had, was gentlemanly words to me after a 6-0 beatdown. I made a top 8 run at the Rockland DPNE, which was event 2 or event 3 in 2023. And in the top 8, I faced Levi Remick. Class act, by the way, for people who don't know. Funny guy, class act.
Amazing dart.
That's an ambassador of darts. That's the kind of guy I want on a world stage.
He's also another guy, family.
Yeah,
his family
absolutely.
No, darts. If you know the name Remick, then you know the family as well.
Yeah, and he, I played him in Rockland. We didn't know each other at all. I got 4 legs off him, and I got 3 of the first 4 legs. And I got 4, and I had darts at 2 others. Like, I had a legit shot at beating. When it came in, and I was playing hard and practicing hard, there was no eye thing. It was, I used to tell Scott Essel, I know all these guys practice. No one will have practiced more hours than me going into the finals night. The board goes to Martha's Vineyard with me. I was a solid 2 to 3 hours a day. I was going into that night ready, because we know that's a seeded draw, and I knew I had Levi.
It's a tough room.
And Levi put a grown-up beating on me, 6-0, 3 legs over 100 average. And afterward, I was like, it's like you didn't even kiss me first. And he came over and he said, and I can remember it like it's now. He came over and he said, I don't know if you remember this. Do you remember the first time we played? I'm like, of course I did. I got full legs for believe I remember. Like, that was an achievement at that moment.
Yeah.
Because I went into that match going, just get a leg. And I got one. And just get a leg. And I got one. And I got another one. And I was like, well, wait a minute. He's giving me opportunity.
Right.
Wait a minute. And
let's take it.
And he said, you know all the guys I hang with. There's a crew of guys there. If I lived in New Hampshire, I'd be banging on Jimmy T's door to play in their singles league. Because it's like everybody who comes out of that just gets better and better and better.
Yeah.
And Levi's like, I knew you were coming prepared. And my goal was to not let you have a shot at a double. At an out. And he was like, he didn't want me under 170. It's like the biggest compliment I could have got. I felt good about some beatdowns before. There are times when I felt I played well and it's got beat by a better class of player.
Right.
I felt so good about the way he's in it, but that's the class of those guys.
Right.
Scott Essel and me bang heads on occasion, class act. You know what I mean? Takes way more grief than he deserves. That community, and it starts here. Like, we have a taste of that here. The AA guys here are extremely supportive.
Yes.
I mean, I think everybody is in the league, but as far as like that moving, like it's, you know, we all figure out, but like, you know, these guys support each other when they're at a tournament. Like you know, no matter where they are, like we're all watching on Dark Connect, and it's definitely a bit of community. And that's another piece why I have the ability to do this. And to be honest with you, it's not that hard because I've been doing stuff like this for a long time.
Right.
And I get as much out of the league as I put into it. So it's been awesome. And like I said, it's neat. There's guys like I don't know. You know, I know their name, I know them to say hello, but I've never had any social who will stop me. Not just stop me and be like, hey, appreciate what you're doing with the singles league. Thanks a lot. Sometimes they'll be like, yeah, don't listen to him. He was teasing, stuff like that. And it's, for the most part, it hasn't been much grief.
Yeah. No,
I mean,
it is.
They do call me Putin. It was Adolf Paquette, and then it was Patrick Putin.
Oh God.
But it runs smooth, and it's doing awesome. You know, you guys started something, and I got to put some polish on it. I got it because I got to be the one guy looking at it. You know, it wasn't the sixth thing that Darren's doing. It was, and I went and asked for help. Like, that was another piece. I call people, call the guys at Liberal Club. I asked a lot of, what do you avoid? What are the problems? What don't I know?
Right.
What do I need to know that I don't know? What mistake can I not make that you guys made? Like, stuff like that. And a lot of people, it's been pretty cool.
You know, the dark community is huge. They all want to help. Every league is going to help out the other leagues. And it's hard with tournaments now because they're everywhere, but we would always work with tournaments and try to do the things because there's no reason. We have a pool of dart players. They need to work together. We don't want people, you know, too thin. So it's been pretty great. All right. Well, listen, we're at about 7:22. So
I got one more message.
Right,
I just want to say something. And you probably figured I'd say something in this area. So I just want to say something there. The worst kept secret in the world, because it's not a secret, is that 29 years ago, I had my 13th detox, and I haven't had a drink or gotten high since. I play darts. I don't need booze or chemicals to deal with nerves. Being in this environment doesn't threaten my sobriety or my clean time. I use the word clean. And you don't need to be a mess to play darts. As a matter of fact, I would argue that the guys who play less fucked up play better. But if you're one of them people who think about it, there's tons of sober and clean guys around, and we're always cool for somebody to tap us on the shoulder and go, I've been worried about myself. And you don't have to use it as an excuse, because we're all over the place. I met guys here when I started playing here. When I said it in the thing to you, I played on a team by accident. We went to the playoffs. They were a good team to begin with. We went to the playoffs. I was not comfortable with the behavior of the team. Right. And I left the league after one season.
Yeah.
And I came back, and I met Bruce Cook and Pete Field and a bunch of guys who were welcoming, who it wasn't just about the party. And I don't judge the party, trust me, because that would be the
Listen,
part.
everybody likes a good party,
Absolutely.
but
And
you know,
but
responsible.
and you don't, and it doesn't have to go along with darts. Dax
Right.
talked a little bit about that.
Yeah.
It's part of it, and some people have to deal with it. But I'm 29 years clean, and I get better and better, and I think I'm going to be better. And we're always around to help people too.
Yeah.
Because if it wasn't for a guy in the North Shore named Emmett Halperin, who was the first guy who tapped me on the shoulder at like 19 years old and went, "You guys are doing too much cocaine." Like, because there was a lot of drugs and darts back then, and he started the safe and smoke and alcohol free environment dart league. Shout out to the North Shore guys, like, and it wasn't all young kids; it was adults too.
Right.
It only lasted a couple of years, but Emmett was the first one anywhere who tapped me on the shoulder and said, "You should think about you guys are going over the edge."
Right.
It took many years. I got clean in '95, but like there was a dart player who tapped me on the shoulder when I was a wreck. But I always, whenever I'm in a public setting, I want to say that because there are people out there who think that they might have a problem, and I want them to know there's help in and around darts.
Yeah.
I mean, and one of the best dart players I know stopped drinking for his own reasons. Dave Walsh proves that you can be at the highest level in this country and play without having to have it. And it's like, and guys like that inspire me.
Absolutely.
It's like, but I like to give that message. Like you like to end your, I sign a lot of things either for the love of the game,
yeah,
or I sign in a lot of my world. A lot of emails are rub some sunshine on your face, which is a Richard Pryor thing from years ago. But and I love the way you end your stuff with your taglines and whatnot. But it's a big important thing in my life to to let people know there's help out here and that you don't have to have it.
Yeah. And my tagline, just so everybody knows, because some of you might, I'm a huge Pat McAfee fan, and I love the Pat McAfee show. Big fan of Boston Connor and Anti-Schmidt, the whole guys, so we're good. And that's where I steal some of my stuff from. So shout out to Pat McAfee. Anytime you want to come down here and be on my show, we'd love to have you. So Basic's going to go get set up. I want to thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Last thing I want to make sure you know is we have a tradition now of signing it. So when I take the sign down, we're going to get you to sign it.
I'm not just a guest. I've watched every single one.
Woof.
I even try and provide you some helpful feedback.
I love the feedback. If you got it, get me some.
I will absolutely sign it.
Can't check the chat a lot of times while I'm doing this. So, but if you got a hint, send it out of here. We just have a silly little show. We're having some fun. So I want to thank Patrick.
Thank you.
Go get yourself signed up.
Absolutely. That man wants some money.
I'll take that right off your shirt.
Oh, yes, sir.
All right. So Patrick's going to go get signed up. You're good. And so I'm just going to do the quick little rundown here. Just to remind everybody who thinks about watching that we are here this Wednesday. This is event 7. I got Captain Shark and Meat Lovin' over there tearing it up. We got Jen Rebello on the bar. She is kicking butt, makes us some nice sandwiches. Looks like the people are cruising in. It's looking pretty good. We're looking pretty good on the stream. We might even try and get a few interviews in a little while and open this back up when we start going. So I want to thank you all for watching. Monday night, Luck of the Draw, Rooster Pizza, Route 68 in Brewster, 7 o'clock sign-ups, $5, bar matches the pot. You know the Wednesday night deal, so get on down here. Come join us for one of these, all right? We'd love to see you. Thursday night, Scott Ferguson, Fergie is in the house. I can see him. They do theirs at the Plymouth VFW. That is a 7 o'clock sign-up, $10 to get you in down there. They also do some cornhole down there, too. I was talking to Lori, the Killer Kinsella. She was down there as well. That's Fergie's partner. So they do a lot of fun stuff up there. So get down here, get into some of these Luck of the Draws. It's 7:29. That means I got to get over there and do my bracket thing. So you know how we end. Do me a favor. Be the reason somebody smiles, okay? It's going to make you feel better. It's really going to make them feel better. for just a short little period of time, the world's going to be a much, much better place. And I appreciate you all. I thank you all. Get on down to the Moose Lodge. Stay tuned. Maybe we'll have a little interview a little later on. All right? We're going to walk you on out of here now. We're going to go boom into studio mode. We're going to go up here. Slideshow 1. We're going to take out. I want to thank Basic. And I want to thank Captain Shark, Me Lovin', Jen Rebello. We're transitioning out. Going off over here, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much.